Kate Mila Falcher, welcome to Irish Granny Helen. Welcome to Debbra Lupien of the Akashic Record, voice of the Akashic Records.
I,
Sorry,
that's
forgot the
okay.
most important part. Deborah, this is interesting what you have behind us,
Mhm.
behind you. What do you have back there?
Oh, it's just a room where you might go if you're mourning somebody and you've got a guest book to sign and some candles and ambiance.
Oh, are you telling us you're in a funeral parlor?
You might call it that.
So today we're going to look at the case of the death of Betsy Faria, and I've been kind of cagey about talking about our real subject of interest because that person is still around, and you'll find out why. So Betsy Faria died in 1969. She was this really outgoing, friendly person who was married and had two daughters. Actually, the daughters were from a previous marriage, but she was married and everything seemed to be going really well at her house. And then she got cancer and she was treated for it and seemed to be better. Everything's, like it was taken care of. And she planned like a family, what do you call it, a cruise. And right before the cruise, she got re-diagnosed. She had it again. And
Um,
this time it was too far gone. And they told her that, it was terminal. Rather than cancel everything, she decided, well, we'll just have a gigantic send-off, party. So let's ask her, before we get into the really awful stuff, let's ask her about when she got married. She married this guy called Russ, and some people were not crazy about him in the sense that they thought he was a little bit of maybe a little bit of a slacker. He wasn't really, but he was kind of one of those jovial, quiet, kind of guys. And he actually had a wide circle of friends, and he actually had a pretty good social life as far as every week on the same night that he would go to a friend's house and the same 5 or 6 people would play games. They just play games. So anyway, let's ask her the state of their marriage.
okay, so Betsy, could you tell us about your marriage to his name's Russ, you said?
Russ, yeah, I want to get it right. Let me double check. Oh, yes, Russ.
Okay. Tell us about your marriage to Russ. What was that like? It was good. We had a lot of fun together. I enjoyed his company. He liked the kids. We were building something solid together.
When when she died, one of her daughters, I think, if not both of them, were living at her mother's house. Why was that?
Hmm. So, why were your daughters living at your mother's house when you died? Oh, because she was sick and she couldn't really be there for them, so it was comfortable and easier for everybody for her to let them go to her mother's where they would get what they needed and
Yeah, they were teenagers. They weren't little children, but
yeah.
I can understand that. So can she describe her friendship with Pam? Pam Hupp is the central character in this melodrama. Can she describe her relationship with her?
Okay, could you describe your relationship with Pam? It's funny. She kind of chose me as a friend and insinuated herself into my life. And the next thing I know, we're hanging out together and we're, quote, friends. But I was always a little uneasy around her. Her manner was so different from mine. And she was kind of pushy. So I tried not to spend that much time with her. But like I said, she insinuated herself. So she was there a lot.
Yeah, I've watched this TV version of your story, and I was struck by how pushy Pam was. She would not take no for an answer. On the night that Betsy died, she had been spending time at her mother's house for treatments or something, and Russ was going to his game night, and then he was coming to her mother's house to pick her up, and they were all going to go home. It was all arranged. And Pam just nosed in and said, "Oh, no, I'll pick you up." And Betsy said, "No, that's okay. You don't have to. Russ is going to." But Pam showed up at her mother's house, and everybody was perplexed why she showed up anyway. And my question would be, how come you didn't just tell her no?
Hmm. She says, good question. I ask myself that a lot. She was really hard to say no to. She just did not take no for an answer. And I was one of those women who was used to being the giver and people taking from me. So I got bowled over by people a lot of the time, which I now understand how bad of a choice that was. And it certainly did not help me in that instance. But yeah, it was just a lifelong pattern for me that she took advantage of.
Do you think that subconsciously you were afraid of her?
Do you think you were afraid of her? I wouldn't say afraid, intimidated more because she was so pushy.
And I don't know if the depiction on the show was true to form, true to life, but it seemed like your mother didn't like her.
So what did your mother think of Pam? No, she spotted her as a grifter from a mile away. She knew she was trouble and did not like her.
Interesting. Your kids too, huh? They weren't real fond of her.
The kids didn't like her either? Is that true? No, because she insinuated herself into our lives and interrupted patterns and plans that we had, and the kids did not appreciate that.
How did Pam know that you had relapsed in your cancer?
So how did Pam know you relapsed? Oh, I was having one of my boohoo days and she showed up and I told her. I'm sorry that I did, but
yeah. So you had a conversation with your father about leaving a will, and in the will designating that your daughters should get whatever property or money you happen to have. Why would you not let your husband deal with that after you were gone?
So is it true that you had a will that indicated your daughters were to get a certain percentage of your estate? Yes, that is true. And so why did you feel a need to do that rather than let your husband take care of that? You know, things can go sideways sometimes, and I just wanted to be sure that they were taken care of and got what was rightfully theirs.
Why did you trust Pam? I just don't understand it. How could you trust her? I got a bad vibe from her, and it was an actress. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so why do you think you trusted Pam? I wouldn't say I did trust her. I was wary of her. And I really did not like the way she kept showing up and pushing herself into situations. But I just didn't have the intestinal fortitude to tell her to get the hell out.
Well, it's got to do more with personality, right? I mean, it's not that you didn't have intestinal fortitude. You just didn't have that kind of personality. Yeah. It was harder for you.
The energy I feel from her is she would think that was rude. And she was a nice girl. Nice girls don't do that.
Yeah, a really nice person. Yeah. So can you tell us what happened on the night of December 27th, 2011? Russ went to his game, correct? His game night. And you were at your mother's house. and Russ was going to pick you up, but Pam showed up, even though you told her not to. She showed up. What was the reaction when she showed up?
Yeah, so tell us the night that Pam picked you up from your mother's, even though you told her no. What happened? Typical Pam, she showed up. Russ hadn't gotten there yet. She just grabbed me and dragged me out of the house into the car before I knew what was happening. I was in the car and we were on the road.
So what happened when you got to the house?
Betsy's house?
Correct. Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
So what happened when you got to your house with Pam?
Did Pam go in the house with you?
Did Pam go in the house with you? No, she didn't. She dropped her off. She was actually surprised that she dropped her off and left because it was so unlike her. Normally she would have hung around and been in the way, but for some reason she dropped her off and left.
Well, how'd you end up dead?
So could you tell us about the events leading up to your death? So Pam came back and she had some kind of an agenda. She was more surly than she had been before, which took Betsy by surprise. And she started getting physical with her, pushing her around. And Betsy tried to fight her off.
What was she mad about?
What was it that she was upset about? She needed some money. And she knew I was dying. She hoped I would leave her something in my will. And foolishly...
Well, she did, though. That's just the thing. She did. That's what she trusted Pam. You know, she had that money that she wanted to leave to her daughters. And Pam talked her into leaving it to Pam, that Pam would be in charge of it.
Are you sure? Because that's not the feeling I'm getting from her. Is it possible the will was changed?
No. It's 100% possible. Yeah, because she got her hands on the money before Betsy was even dead. It was some sort of maybe it was an insurance thing. I don't remember. But
yeah, because the impression she's giving me is that she didn't put Pam in the will. Pam was trying to force her to do that, but she was saying no. She was very convinced that money had to go to her daughters. Because she knew she was dying, so she wasn't going to give on that point. So help us understand, how did you go from that to Pam's name being in the will? It's very murky, but they argued. It's like she pushed her and she cracked her head. There was something physical, and Betsy was fighting back because at this point, it's like the strength you get when you're on your deathbed, because she knew she didn't have long to live, and it was really important to her to give that money to her girls. So she was fighting for their lives.
What they did in the documents is she had Pam be in charge of the money because she didn't think her husband would do it carefully or be wise about it. And she didn't want the girls to get their claws into it because they were teenagers and they'd spend it on clothes and stuff. So she put Pam in charge of it. But right away, she put Pam in charge of it.
Yeah, she's saying she didn't because she didn't trust her.
She didn't changed it.
Yeah, she didn't totally trust the husband either, which is why it was going straight to the girls. But no, she's saying she did not do that. So somehow that was done without her permission.
Pam worked in the insurance agency. She knew all about insurance,
So, yeah, somehow she was able to do that without Betsy's permission, because she's saying, no, I knew I couldn't trust her. And, that's what they were arguing about, that she wanted some money. She wanted, because she was in dire
Yeah.
straits herself. And yeah, so it got very physical. And I don't think Pam meant to kill her, because that would be killing the golden goose before she got the money.
Well, she was stabbed, and she was stabbed 55 times. Some incredible number of times. I mean, just utterly ridiculous. Where did it go? Where
Let's ask
55 times.
Let's ask another question. Did Pam actually kill her? Because she didn't say that yet. So let's just see what happened next. So she pushed you, you had this physical altercation. Was Pam the one responsible for stabbing you 55 times? She's saying no, that was somebody else.
Who?
Pam had an accomplice.
Oh, wow.
There was somebody else. And it's kind of a murky figure. I'm not getting, clarity on that, but it's like Pam didn't have the guts to finish her off. So she had somebody else do the dirty work. Somebody she paid to do it. And they wanted to make it look like it was a crime of passion, and that's why they stabbed her so many times. So that was a deliberate setting of a scene.
Will that person get caught?
Betsy was gone before that. So did the person who stabbed you, did they ever get caught? They've been incarcerated, but not for her crime, for something else.
Or something else. Okay, so I don't know if we should talk to Betsy or if we should look at Pam's thing, because I'm interested in finding out Pam's motivation for what happened afterwards. Yeah. So really, that's the only questions that I have for Betsy.
Yeah, I mean, she was a bit player in her story, so.
That's the thing. This is such a weird story. Yeah. Yeah. It's very sad. Her girls are okay. I hope that helps her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Betsy. We appreciate it.
So let's go back and let's get Pam's perspective on the whole thing, what happened that night.
Okay, so we're going to pick up the story with Pam when she got to Betsy's mother's house. Is that where you want to start?
Yeah, that's a good place to start.
Okay, so I'm going to go into my records, and I'm asking my team to invite Pam into the records for a conversation if she will come. Oh yeah, she's got attitude 9 ways to Sunday, and yeah, very talkative. So Pam, can you tell us the events that transpired when you went to pick Betsy up at her mother's house? I mean, first of all, why did you go to pick her up when you knew she already had a ride? Oh, she just said that because she didn't want to bother me, but I knew she would rather ride with me than Russ.
How did she know that?
What was that?
How did she know that?
Oh, it's the attitude.
Oh, because it's not true.
Yeah. No, it's not true, but that's her attitude, her perspective. This is a story she tells herself to justify what she does. She knows better, just like somebody else we know.
Oh, I'm trying to figure out who. Well, me? No. Okay, so can you describe what happened when she got to Betsy's mother's house?
Yeah, so describe what happened when you got to the mother's house. Well, the old biddy was there, glowering at me. She never did like me. Wasn't a secret. And I persuaded Betsy to come take the ride with me. We'd have a good girl talk on the way home, and she'd be happy. I had to really work to persuade her, but I got her in the car. We got to her house. The truth is, I needed money bad. I was in the hole. Things were closing in on me. And Pam was my only, no, not Pam, Betsy. Betsy was my only hope in that moment. There was nobody else I could go to. I knew she had some money. And I felt we had a good friendship so that she would ultimately agree to give me some money. So when I started explaining what I needed to her, for the first time, she was saying no to me and meaning it. And I didn't understand that because she had always been so amenable before. I thought we were really friends and that she would help me out. I was pretty desperate. I got a little crazy. I got angry. I lost my temper, honestly. And I started shoving her around. And I knew right away that was a big mistake. That was not going to get me what I wanted. But the energy was already there and it was in place and I couldn't stop it. So I knocked her down. And then when she fell, she must have passed out for a couple of seconds because I saw her lying there motionless. And I got scared that I'd killed her. And so I left. And then as I'm driving away, I'm in a panic because, okay, what am I going to do now? Her mother knows I picked her up. I need some help. If she's going to live, I don't want her telling what happened. And then she's saying she hatched this plan. She's a real schemer. She's really good at coming up with things on the, just really in the snap of the fingers. She decided that if she did away with her, she could get her hands on the money because she had connections. And so, I don't know. It's murky how she connected with this person, but it was a man. She connected with this man who also needed some money. And so she promised to split the money with him. And he was a real creepy type who was only too happy to go in and take care of the problem for her. In fact, she did not ask him to do that kind of a level of violence. She just wanted it taken care of. But, he really went crazy. And after it was all said and done, she was kind of happy that he did because that helped to point the finger in another direction so that it looked like a crime of passion. So ultimately that worked in her favor, she's saying. So,
well, I'm going to call BS because I'll tell you why. I looked it up because I was afraid that I'd misrepresented, in my notes. Pam Hupp was named the sole beneficiary of Betsy Faria's $150,000 State Farm life insurance policy just 4 days before she was murdered. Now, maybe she went over to borrow money, whatever, but I don't believe that. There is absolutely no evidence that there was anybody else at the murder scene. She went there with the intention of killing her and making it look like the husband did it. She went into the bedroom and got his slippers and took Betsy's socks off her feet to cover her hands, and dipped his slippers into the blood to make it look like he was walking around, and then hid the slippers. The phone evidence, which was not allowed in court, and is why he was found guilty, when they finally released it and allowed it, he was exonerated because she was there and he wasn't, and nobody else was there. Her phone was there the whole time. She didn't leave and come back. She didn't. And I think she's trying to make herself distanced from doing the crime. There was no other person there. She did.
Isn't it possible, though, that because she had that insurance connection, she was able to get a hold of the paperwork and change the date on it? Because,
Betsy was told her mother and told the girls that she put Pam in charge of it. There was no doubt at all that she put Pam in charge of it. It's so weird
because Betsy was adamant that she did not do that.
That's not what everybody else said, though. And Pam, she was there on the scene the whole time. Her car GPS and her phone were there the whole time. And I think, you're dealing with a psychopath who will tell you whatever you want to hear,
Yeah, but Betsy's saying she did not do that. I don't
I don't know what to say. Yeah, I don't know what to believe.
She's adamant. Unless she's just trying to cover up, but she has no reason to do that. She's gone, so.
No, but her daughters were mad at her because they didn't like Pam. Her mother was mad at her because she didn't like Pam. Russ didn't know, I don't think, because she didn't want him to know that she didn't trust his judgment, because he was kind of, kind of dorky, and she was afraid that he would just flitter away the money. But this thing was studied for a really long time, and it's really apparent that Pam came in and set him up on purpose. Set him up.
Yeah.
She never liked him. She was jealous of him.
Well, so she's admitting to setting the scene, but she's not admitting to stabbing Betsy, because she couldn't have done that, is what she said.
So who was the other person?
This guy.
Why doesn't she name this other nameless person to get herself off the hook? She's being charged.
Yeah, I don't know. So why can't you tell us who this person was? No, she's not giving up the name. Maybe, are you afraid of him? Is that why?
Well, but he would be a witness against her. He'd testify against her.
Yeah, she's not introducing that evidence. No. But she's adamant she did not stab Betsy. So maybe in her twisted mind, she did it and forgot she did it. I don't know. Blacked out, but she's claiming
like a fugue state. But claiming that Betsy didn't want Russ to drive her. It's really not true. You heard Betsy talking about her whole family disliked Pam. There was something not right about her.
Yeah, which is why it makes no sense that Betsy would put her name on the will. And Betsy's maintaining she didn't. So there's a kernel there that's missing. I don't know if it's possible that the story that's been put out publicly, that part of it is wrong, because, maybe they hypothesized a few things and filled in the blanks incorrectly.
Well, let me look this up. Did Pam Hupp?
Because there's no reason Betsy would have to, that I can imagine, to defend Pam if she really did put her name on the will.
Yeah. Well, let's reword this and see. The story is that she manipulated the situation, but it doesn't say that she faked the document. Okay, so there's conflicting stories.
Yeah.
That's why it's confusing. Pam Hupp gave conflicting accounts. She also claimed she had a bag of money buried. She's just crazy. Okay, well, let's just take everything she says with a block of salt, because she was the sole beneficiary. She was last to see her alive. Her phone put her in the spot. Her GPS put her in the spot. She never left. She was always in that spot, parked with her car. When she got the money, she never gave a penny to the girls. They sued her, and they lost, and she got to keep the money because the paper. Yeah, it's her. Betsy's husband went to prison. Pam kept the money. The girls got nothing. She's like unbelievable.
Criminal genius.
She's a psychopath. Because there's more. The thing about Pam, there's more. There's a great, what would you call it? A docudrama. It's based on truth, and a lot of it is verbatim conversations and taken out of court, court documents. But Renee Zellweger plays Pam Hupp. She's very good. She's very good in it. She really is. She's not my favorite usually, but she's very good in this role. Mhm.
She is talented. I could see that.
So we can ask Pam maybe some questions to kind of highlight her delusion. So, what kind of relationship did Pam have with her husband?
With Russ or Pam's husband?
With Pam's own husband? What kind of relationship did Pam have with her own husband?
So, Pam, could you tell us what kind of relationship you had with your husband? As long as he did what I wanted, we got along fine. So it's this feeling of he was a very henpecked kind of guy. She wore the pants in the family.
What about her daughter?
How old was her daughter?
Well, when this happened, her daughter was a young adult and she was married. She and her husband, this is the kind of thing that Pam did. Pam, she always told her daughter she was always going to fail. She'd never be anything. She'd never make anything of herself. You know, Pam was in real estate and her daughter kind of followed in her footsteps and Pam resented it. And her daughter and her daughter's husband were going to bid on a house that was up for auction that needed a lot of work, and they had a little bit of money, and they were going to bid on this house and they were going to fix it up, and nobody else really wanted it because it was too much of a fixer-upper. But Pam went and outbid her, just proved to her that she wasn't capable of even winning an auction
with Betsy's money.
Yeah, her own daughter. Yeah, she spent all the money. It was all gone.
So you want to hear what she has to say about her daughter?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Pam, what about your relationship with your daughter? She was a great disappointment in my life. She had my guidance, but she fought me at every turn. She was weak. She let people take advantage of her. I tried to help when I could, but she stubbornly resisted me.
Okay. What did she think of Russ?
She just has this real attitude like she knows what's best for everybody and they just should do it. No questions asked.
Grandiosity. It's
yes.
A characteristic. Yes. Only I can save you. Yeah. What did you think of Russ?
So, what did you think about Russ? He was a waste of space. And what I get in the resonance of that, what I get is that he didn't think too much of her and he didn't allow her to push him around. So therefore, he was contemptible.
She made all sorts of stories up. She lied about him, that he was sitting around in his underwear smoking all day and doing nothing. And that really wasn't true. None of it was true. And she claimed awful things about Betsy's daughters. She claimed one of her daughters was an addict, and she just made all these stories up to make other people look bad so she would look good. When she came into court to testify, she limped. She had no limp. She limped just to get sympathy, and then she went out in the hallway. It was all miracle cure.
So you have to wonder, I mean, surely somebody noticed that she's telling all these lies.
Yeah. Pam's Betsy's entire family.
For so long?
Persuasive. Well, you heard Betsy talking about not being able to say no to her.
Yeah.
Betsy's daughters and mother, they had her pegged, and they began to suspect her early on, and they had no power. They had nothing that they could do. They tried. They took her to court. They sued her. They lost.
Yeah, she was like a bulldozer. She just came in and bulldozed through people's lives.
Yeah, and she had no qualms about destroying other people's lives. I mean, she set Russ up, and he spent all those years in prison. And then she arranged, and this is just unbelievable, she actually told the prosecutors at one point that she became Betsy's husband, with all that that might imply.
Wow.
Oh yeah, she was nuts. But then she arranged to have, I'm trying to find my notes because I want to get this, I want to be accurate about it.
Yeah. She has no remorse at all about
No.
setting the husband up. She just felt like he was a convenient patsy, and too bad for him.
Yeah, she got her husband. She had a boyfriend, and she left her husband and got the boyfriend, took the daughter, moved to the Everglades, and conned old people out of their money. And that was the money that she was burying. So I don't know which crime to tell you about first. This is terrible. So she lured.
Betsy called her a grifter. She was right.
Oh yeah, yeah. She wanted to lure somebody into her car and offer them $1,000 to record what she said were sound bites. And I had forgotten this part. She introduced herself as a producer for Dateline. Dateline was covering the case.
Yeah.
So she got in the car and went to a neighborhood that had a mobile home park where she knew people would need money. And she saw this young woman in the yard, and she pulled up and she said, I'll give you I'm from Dateline, and I just need some people with a local accent to record some sound bites. And if you come with me, we'll record the sound bites. I'll give you $1,000. And this woman was really hurting for money and thought, well, against her better judgment. But she felt a little uneasy about it. So she said, well, wait a minute, let me go in and get my keys. And she put a knife in her sleeve.
Wow.
That's how weird I don't know why she got in the car with her. But she got in the car with her, and then after a few blocks she got a really bad feeling, and she told her, I've changed my mind, I've got to get home, I forgot I had something I had to do and I'm going to be late. And Pam got all mad at her and just pulled over and basically kicked her out of the car. Saved her life, because she went back and drove around and found another guy, and this guy was developmentally disabled, and she had him come over. I'm from Dateline, I'll give you $1,000 if you'll record a couple of sentences. Let's go, to where I'm recording. And he said, well, okay. So she took him to her house where she had set up the whole thing so that she called 911 while he was there. She even had stuff on the floor to not damage her carpet or whatever. So she calls 911 and puts on this act. A guy just broke into my house and he's trying to steal my car and he's trying to kill me and I need help. And oh my God, he's coming right at me. Bang, bang. And she shoots this guy dead. And then tries to make it look like he was working with Russ and that Russ really did kill the wife, even though now he's out of jail. He's been exonerated. You made a mistake letting him loose. He really did do it, trying to distract the guilt from her. And she killed this poor guy.
So this was 16 years later?
I'm not sure.
Let me out of jail. It's got to be like 16 years, right? Or more.
See the date, 2003. And when did he? No. This when she went to the Everglades, 2016. No, so he must have still been in jail, but they're trying to get him out, and she doesn't want him to get out, and she's trying to make him look really, really, really guilty. So he had gotten out. I don't know. The dates are fouled up, but be that as it may, she shot this guy on 911 to make it look like he was breaking into her house.
Right.
And it was going to be a setup to re-blame Russ. And immediately it was poorly done. It was poorly carried off. And immediately the police were suspicious. Her next door neighbor was this little old lady that she had been manipulating for years. She got her to come to the trial and sit in the gallery and listen to the trial and then report word for word back. Because she was a witness, she couldn't be in the courtroom. and she wanted all the evidence that she could get. What did the prosecution know, so she could prepare her story, right?
Do we know whether she was committing crimes before Betsy?
I don't know. They think that she did when she, in 2003, so that would have been 8 years before Betsy, she moved to the Everglades, and she was conning old people out of their money. Now, it didn't really say what happened to the old people, but somehow she was getting their money. And then she killed her own mother. She killed her mother. Her mother was in an assisted living facility, and they'd always had the kind of relationship she had with her daughter, she had with her mother. But her mother was horrible. And her mother was an alcoholic, and she and her mother were always at each other. And what she did was she got her mother liquored up and put a couple of pills in the liquor and made sure the mother had a little balcony that looked outside. She made sure she sawed the balcony. So that when her mother went outside and leaned on the balcony, she went over the edge and died. And they were able to prove that she was the only one there, and the balcony was sawn, and the mother, was inebriated, but yeah, she killed her.
So this was before Betsy. She killed her.
Let me get the year. I didn't write down the date. Let me find out. I'll easily find. I can easily find.
Confusing, because if she had that kind of a record, then they would have looked at her sooner.
Well, they'd already convicted Russ. Okay, the mother died in 2013, 2 years after Betsy died, and Russ was in prison. Yeah.
So she must have had other crimes besides just fleecing old people, because I just can't see her stepping in and doing the Betsy crime if she didn't have others beforehand. She had to escalate.
I would argue that it's inevitable that she did, but I don't think they knew about it. They know of 2 murders that she committed 100% for sure. In 2021, she was charged and arrested for Betsy's death. But and she was supposed to go on trial this summer. And just the other day, it's been postponed to 2028. And they're making noises about, well, maybe it won't happen at all. I don't know why. But it's just unbelievable to me that she would get away with that many murders. And why people... Okay, I'm going to show you something. She has what's considered a sign, a characteristic of psychopaths. And it's... Oh, she tried to kill herself when she was arrested too, by the way. The cop left a pen on the table in the interview room, and she tried to do... So here's a picture of her with her bandages around her neck. See that smug look on her mouth?
Yeah.
Okay, let me show you another example of it, because that's actually here's another example of it at a later date. That's called Duper's Delight. And a lot of psychopaths have it. Look at pictures of Ted Bundy. Look at pictures of, what's another good one? I can't think of any psychopaths off the top of my head.
It just reminds me of one of those clowns from a Stephen King movie.
John Wayne Gacy. Yeah, it's this weird grin that a lot of narcissists have. I'm looking for... Oh, well, here's one who had it all the time. You know who that is?
Yeah, it was too close to see at first, but I saw it. Yeah.
I'll say, okay, here's Ted Bundy. This is a perfect example. Like they're pulling one over on you.
It's that air of superiority. I know
Smug.
something you don't know.
Yeah, they're smug. Let me see if I can get an example. in killers. What's the name of the one that killed her? Well, got away with killing. Casey Anthony,
Yeah.
right? Okay, let's get a picture of that. This makes for great video, doesn't it? But it's worth it because it's such a weird, it's this weird characteristic. You wouldn't think that it would be so consistent. Okay, I'm not getting, well.
Yeah, it's part of the bigger picture. You're connecting dots. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
That's just sort of a smug, self-satisfied, I pulled one over on you, kind of arrogant look that they have. But it wouldn't be diagnostic, but you can go back when you know about somebody and you can look and say, oh yeah, I didn't notice that. Yeah.
But because of all of this evidence, now they should be able to see it going forward. So it's not wasted.
Yeah, I think they can't use it as evidence, but it can put up red flags.
Yeah.
It's like the hair checklist, the hair psychopathy checklist that some people still swear by and other people poo-poo. And when he designed it, he based it on, he was giving it to people who were already convicted and in prison. So people tend to just sort of dismiss it. But it's all these, it's a rating like 1, 2, or 3. You're not, or you are, or you're sort of.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got to a whole list of behaviors, a whole list of attitudes, a whole list of characteristics. So you score high on it if you answer a certain number. And I don't know, I don't remember what the number is. I think I got like a 3. And the high end is like towards 40. But it's grandiosity and pathological lying and a lack of empathy and a lack of remorse and sadism and an enjoyment of manipulating people and being glib and charming.
But it's a great profile that they can use to help them aim towards the right person, because if they'd known this before, Russ might not have gone to jail. It would have guided them in the right direction.
That's what I think too, but she was such a good manipulator that she fooled the cops. She had the sheriff working for her. The sheriff was like feeding her information, and the whole thing was just, in retrospect, at a distance, you just go, oh my God, how could all these people fall for this? That's how good she was. I'm trying to think of,
it's that powerful personality where they make their thought become your thought.
Yeah, well,
NLP or something.
We see it in action every day now. Just bowling people over, bullying, taking pleasure in other people's misery, lying with and people say, oh, he's so charming. I just don't see it. I don't understand how people can say that. But there's just this whole set of personality characteristics. It's considered a personality disorder. It's antisocial personality disorder. And a lot of people misthink that they are all violent. And that's not true at all. A very small percentage of them are violent, but they take pleasure in manipulating people. They're grifters and con artists and liars. And often they like to pit people one against the other. Hitler would do that. If he had a job, like head of Homeland Security, he would make 2 people the boss who hated each other, and he would do it on purpose. And then he would watch them fight like cats in a bag. Mm-hmm. And there was no concern for the smooth operating of the wheels of government. It was his entertainment to watch these people go at each other.
Yeah, gladiators in the Colosseum.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it's. I can't cope with that much melodrama. It's just too much, It has a very unhealthy feel to it, right?
Yeah. And I also heard somewhere recently that the other thing they do is they come in and they love bomb you in the beginning.
That's a charm.
Yeah.
That's
And
that
then once
word
they
charm.
got you, then they can be pushier.
Yeah.
But you better hope.
I think one of the things that is so intriguing to me that they get away with is the lying, because you can show most of the time that something is either true or not true, usually a fact. The fact is a fact, right? And they will just, up is down, the sky is purple, or
They're
part of the
just
sky.
people who are nice, and they don't think that other people do that because they don't do that. And so it's easy to take advantage of them if you're one of those type.
Well, you can see it in politics. They did a study. They counted heads. How many of this type of personality is attracted to this job description? And they got the top 5 jobs. I always miss one, but let's see if I can remember. Lawyer, of course, politician, neurosurgeon, police officer, pastor. Top 5 jobs for psychopaths. Isn't that interesting? What are those all about? Control without emotion. Like a neurosurgeon has to have a steady hand. You don't want somebody who gets nervy with adrenaline in their handshake, because that's what happens, right? You want somebody who's in complete control. Somebody arrogant enough to say, oh, I can do this. No problem. I can hold somebody's brain in my hands. That's not a problem. You want that. And having worked on a neurological floor with neurosurgeons, I'm here to tell you they are miserable as a species. Horrible to work with. Arrogant, demanding, just awful. Police, that's pretty self-evident, right?
Yeah.
Lawyers, pretty self-evident. I think it's all self-evident. I think the ones that's interesting, the one that's really interesting is pastor. And it's manipulating people. We're talking about the big hair mega church. Lots of little rings guys. And Pam fits into that description perfectly when you look at her life and the things that she says. Let me see if I can find some quotes that she said. Oh, that Betsy's death affected her far more than anybody else. Really upset her more than anybody. She was mad at Dateline because she said that they were making her lose business. They're making her look bad and lose business. Let's see what else here. She told all these lies about the poor guy she shot. That was really a terrible thing. She, how they're criminally versatile. That means they will commit a crime just to commit a crime. So they'll cheat on their taxes. They will speed when they don't need to. She used to steal things from Walmart. And like when she had a job and she was an adult and there was no reason for it, she'd steal something and then she'd go in and try to get the money back.
Oh my God.
And finally, they stopped falling for it because her face was all over Dateline. I mean, Dateline's been following this now for quite a while. And her face was all over Dateline, and the clerks at the store started to recognize her and wouldn't let her exchange things. And she was all mad at the clerks and at Dateline, but never occurred to her to stop stealing things. She told her daughter that she couldn't succeed because she wasn't as good as Pam was. Nobody ever checked her alibi, which I think was very interesting.
It's that bulldozer thing. They don't
talk them. Yeah. I do have some more quotes from her. I'm having a hard time reading my handwriting. It's been so long since I've done that. Betsy had a crush on her. She loved me. This is what Pam said. And she wanted a sexual relationship. She says, I wasn't into it, but it was something I sacrificed for Betsy. She actually told the prosecutor that. She told this whole story about how Russ was mad at Betsy one night while Pam was there and grabbed Betsy by the neck and held her up against the wall around the neck and threatened to hurt her. Never happened. Let's see what else I can find. I've forgotten about this. It's been a while since I actually read these.
And Betsy is saying, and that stuff that Pam described never happened either. About the physical relationship.
Oh, we know it didn't. Yeah. I mean, by the time she was
just wanted to put it on the record.
Oh, no. I think anybody with 2 brain cells is fully aware that Pam's a big, gigantic liar. And if she opens her mouth, it's a lie. And it's self-aggrandizing. She told her next door neighbor not to talk to the Dateline people, that they were freaks. And if you see the Dateline people, they all work behind the scenes. They're not the guys that are on the camera, but they're very professional and really nice. And she's calling them freaks and making fun of them. So then the woman from Dateline met with the prosecutors and said, we need to talk. This woman is crazy. You don't know anything about her, because they kept the whole reality of Pam away from the court until after Russ was locked up. Yeah, she said Betsy was afraid of him, that he degraded her. But in another time, she told the cops she really didn't know Russ very well. She claimed she had a bad memory because she had a brain injury. Oh my God. Let's see what else. She changed her story several times with the cops. I went in, I didn't go in, I stayed outside, I didn't stay outside. I think that we're being lied to, because the evidence that they have is pretty inarguable. The only reason why Russ was convicted was that they managed to keep the prosecutor was this woman who really, really had it in for Russ from the very beginning. And she wanted a quick prosecution because she was running for re-election. And Pam manipulated her, and she just focused on, this is my answer. Now I'm going to make the evidence fit. And the evidence that didn't fit, she discarded, and she got it kept out of court. So they didn't have the phone records. They didn't have the GPS records. They didn't have a lot of the other kind of evidence that would lead you down the right road. So I just feel like talking to Pam is a dead end.
Yeah. Well, so the thing about the multiple stabbings, that was a deliberate fabrication of the murder.
Yeah.
To make it look like it was Russ, because, crime of passion, right?
Yeah.
That would make them look at him first.
She intentionally got his shoes bloody and made it look like a crime of passion, because she then told the story later. Russ threatened to do that when he held her up. He would hurt her, and he would, and it was all a perfect setup. She was describing the behavior of the crime that she committed and attributing it to Russ. That's a terrible story. That poor man. I mean, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I can listen to almost any crime story, and I have a degree of horror or empathy or whatever. But the only crime stories that I absolutely, there are 2. Cruelty to animals. Can't deal with it. I don't know. I just cannot deal with it. And the other one is false incarceration. When somebody is found guilty and they're not. I just think those are so terrible. What a nightmare.
Yeah.
So let's ask Pam. Does she ever give a thought to the fact that Russ was unfairly found guilty?
No, that's what I was telling you I got earlier. There is no remorse at all. She feels like she was justified. This was all deserved by them. They're losers. She should always win. This is a fair outcome in her mind. And she facilitated it.
How'd she feel about being in prison for killing the other guy?
Well, that's not so good. But she's working on it. She's not settling for that. She's still working on it. Who else do we know like that? Going back, well, working on it, you know.
Well, she's not the only one who's been convicted 34 times.
Yeah, but not sitting in a jail cell.
That I know. That's the psychopathic thing, you know.
Yeah.
I park outside and my tires aren't turned to the curb. I get a ticket. They come into my house and give me a ticket. 34 felonies. Nothing. Oh, it drives me insane. It's so wrong.
But the other perspective on it is, thank God we're not like that.
Could you sleep at night?
Well, if we were like that, we could. Because we justify it. They justify it.
I guess.
I'm winning. This is sweet. They're losing because they're weak. And
who did we talk to who talked like that?
A couple of people at least.
Peter Thiel, Mark Andreessen, Charles Lindbergh. Isn't that interesting? Yeah.
The monsters among us.
Yeah. Do you have any other? I don't have other questions for her. I'm not going to entertain lies.
I'm just horrified by the whole thing.
It's worthwhile watching that show. Okay, it's called The Thing About Pam with Renee Zellweger. I think that's the right name. Yeah, The Thing About Pam with Renee Zellweger. And it's actually well done. It's really well done. And it's infuriating. You know, when somebody, it's so obvious what has happened here. And just,
yeah.
No,
well, it's obvious now in hindsight that you have the facts, but it wasn't at the time.
No, there were minor crimes, though, I think would have been obvious. I think, I don't know, if she's portrayed the way she really is in real life, I think some of us would have kept our distance. Maybe not. I don't know. Do you think you could be fooled?
I don't know. I hope not. I hope the instincts would kick in. But I've been fooled earlier in my life when I was young and naive.
Yeah, but you live and you learn, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm just suspicious of anybody anymore. My default setting is guilty until proven innocent.
You know, prove you're somebody who's worthy of being in my life before you get in.
Well, prove you're somebody I can trust. You know, you have to earn trust. It's not just given automatically. When you're young, you just give it automatically because you don't think anything of it. But I think as you get burned a couple of times and you realize that not everybody can be trusted. Not everybody has your best intentions in mind, you know. It's weird. Yeah, I don't want to talk to her anymore. Thank you very much. But
yeah,
not you, her. Yeah.
We're hanging up the connection now.
Yeah, I don't like being lied to. Remember the whole Charlie Manson thing?
Yeah.
He's just all full of himself. It's just too much. Well, that was very interesting, wasn't it? I think it probably was more real for you. I already knew what she was. Did it surprise you?
Yeah, because I didn't know the story. But, you know, I got immediately from Betsy that, you know, there was something off with this relationship. They were not friends. She was just being manipulated.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate that Betsy was a people pleaser and a nice person, and she would bend over backwards, you know, to not ruffle feathers, and there are people who will take advantage of that. And this was an extreme. I mean, this was really extreme, but still.
Yeah.
You know who I feel really sorry for are her daughters. Betsy's daughters.
Yeah, I got that. Well,
They
Pam's
lost
feel sorry.
everything. They lost their mother. They lost their father. They lost their inheritance. Then Pam dragged their reputations through the mud.
But wasn't he a stepfather? Didn't they have another father?
Yeah, well, yeah, but he raised them from the time they were very little.
Oh,
He
okay.
was their father. They considered him their father. And then they had, they couldn't repair the relationship. But I forgot to tell you the best part. The best part of all, Russ got out of prison and he went to the trial of the guy that she shot. And the woman that she tried to get into the car, the first person she tried to lure, who puts the knife in her sleeve, and she sat down, and Russ happened to be there, and they're in a relationship. I mean, I think they're married. If they're not married, they're gonna be. Yeah.
Well, I think funny? Betsy arranged that.
That's cool, huh? Ask her.
That's what I got. Betsy arranged that.
Oh, I think that's sweet. I think that's really sweet. Both of them needed somebody, and they went through a horrendous experience. Like, can you imagine realizing that you were almost on a list of victims?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're good. I think we did it. Thank you.
I'm glad we had that other one before that was so wonderful to contrast with this one.
When people see this, it's going to be a standalone, And I did a video on the crime and the whole thing. And then Denise and I are going to do the astrology and the tarot cards. So this is a full circle. This is like an all spectrum analysis of the situation. I'm very eager. I'll let you know what Denise sees in her.
Yeah. Does this remind you the one that you did a while back with that really crazy lady and her brother? I think it was her brother. It's a famous murder case that you
Lori Vallow. Vallow and what's his face? I can't remember his name. And her husband and her brother was their hitman. It's just unreal. The whole thing was unreal. She killed her daughter, her son, her husband. She destroyed the lives of a couple of other husbands by accusing them of child, when it wasn't true. And she tried to kill, was it a son-in-law, nephew? And was instrumental in orchestrating the murder of her husband's first wife. The criminal husband's first wife. I think they killed 5 people, I think, if I remember correctly. It was unreal. And Dateline turned it into a franchise. I mean, Dateline had, I don't know, 6 different 2-hour shows on it because it just kept escalating. And it went over a number of years. Yeah.
The similarities between the two.
She's got the duper's delight. I'm really glad you mentioned her. I'll show you Lori Vallow. She's got that smug grin on her face all the time. It's so annoying. You don't want it when she's being given her sentence. That probably isn't an accurate depiction. There's a million pictures of her being sentenced. Hold on.
Yeah, actually, I think Pam is an amateur compared to Lori. But she was coming up.
Oh, wait, I just found one. Here we go.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just the expression, it's the timing of the expression. Something awful will be said that they've done, and they'll deny it, and then look how pleased with themselves. I'd make a really bad psychopath, because when somebody accuses me of something, especially if I didn't do it, I react like I'm fully guilty. I get all red and I get all sweaty and I can't talk. And that's when I'm innocent. I don't know what, what
Well,
really
that's
what
that Catholic upbringing where you were grilled all the time.
yeah. I'm waiting for the walls of purgatory to open up and drag me in.
Yeah.
That's right.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, it all goes back to your childhood, doesn't it? Yeah. Well, I think we've accomplished something. I think this was an interesting lesson, wasn't it? Yeah, I hope did you feel like you got a little taste of what a psychopath is like?
I got a bad taste. Mhm.
Yeah, I could tell you seemed a little upset. Me, I just feel vindicated.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to be something awful. I knew we weren't going to get any truth out of her. Not at all. It's just impossible.
Yeah.
And I feel really sorry for Betsy's family. It's terrible. All right. Thank you, everybody. A little unorthodox session tonight, but it was kind of fun. I hope you enjoyed it.
Interesting.
And I'm sure we'll be back with yet another criminal. There doesn't appear to be any shortage of them. So
Sadly,
thanks for watching. Thank you, Deborah.
You're welcome.
Slancha.